Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Donovan Brown, and I'm here this morning to welcome you on behalf of Daryl Bennett and his campaign team, and to ask you, as I often have to do in church, to move up to the front. And we've chosen this site here this morning because Daryl's speech is going to be on social concerns, because many of our social concerns are right here in the downtown area of Peterborough. We read about them in the newspaper, we see them as we walk the streets downtown. And so it's my privilege this morning to welcome a man who bears these concerns in his heart and in his mind and has great plans to do something about them. This is a bright sunny day, and it's a bright day for Peterborough when Daryl Bennett is elected mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the new mayor of Peterborough.
It's always great following Donovan. You get a minute to adjust the mic and get yourself set up. I tell you, Donovan starts off with, I don't know much about business, but I'll tell you, you want to lace your boots on real tight if you're trying to do business with him. Because he is a tough customer, and you appreciate the art of doing business better after having tried to deal with him. I want to thank you all for coming this morning, and I want to welcome you all for being here. I appreciate you coming out on this bright sunny day. We don't get too many of them this time of year, so it's great to take advantage of it, and we won't keep you any longer than we have to. We cut the speech down from 31 pages to 17. Well, that was just by changing the type font a bit. So, as most of you know, our campaign is presenting a number of speeches on issues that we believe to be important to the people and to the city of Peterborough. For 5 months now, I've been meeting with individuals and groups across our community who collectively represent a remarkable array of interests and concerns. I have sought out these meetings, and I have listened with care. And it has been a wonderful learning experience for which I am deeply grateful. Well, the subjects we dealt with were as varied as you can imagine. I found them all to be connected by a simple yet compelling idea, and that is a concern for people, their welfare, their well-being, their hopes, and their dreams, and desires. Their perception of their place and their purpose in their community. As much as we might like to think of the greatness of our city in terms of buildings and bridges, or streets, stores, malls, and monuments, it is the way we relate to each other that represents the true measure of any great city. And that is important. I understand this. I've dealt with this. I will tell you, in 2004, a friend of mine who was in the early stages of Alzheimer's, a disease that had early afflicted his father, decided he did not want to burden his family with the cost and travel and all the care that's associated with the advancement of that disease. I began to help him, he asked me to, as I had helped others, taking care of home maintenance and repairs, and controlling and handling all of his personal transactions. As his capacities diminished, it became clear that we'd have to move him to a long-term care facility, but that would be a full 2 years away. With the help of others, I spent 2 years of daytime and nighttime visits, arranging care and meeting his daily needs, until we finally got him into a long-term care facility. Today, he has no memory of me or any of his friends. He needs an ever-increasing amount of attention. In some ways, I lost that friend. But in other ways, I gained a valuable reminder of the gift of giving and the charity of caring, as I have in many, many other occasions. Now I know that this may not fit into the pigeonhole which some have attempted to place me in. You know the story. It goes like this. That Bennett guy, he's a businessman. He knows business, but that's all. Nothing else. Just business. Until he's had a few decades of meandering his way through the municipal maze at 500 George Street, well, he's just not going to be our kind of guy. Or is he? Let's put that aside. Here's what I know. This great city has a wonderful tradition of providing caring and compassionate support to all of its people. And I intend to maintain that tradition. In fact, I intend to improve on it. Here's how. Let me suggest 5 principles that will guide my leadership on the development of social planning and policy in Peterborough. First, I want to set as our primary goal, as lofty as it may be, that no member of the Peterborough family will be left behind. No member of the Peterborough family will be left behind. We have an obligation to look after each other and an obligation to assist those who are least able to look after themselves. And this should be a touchstone in all our decision making. Second, I believe that truly effective social policy has to meet the real needs of real people, not the criteria needs of government programs. In order to make that happen, we must become better listeners, and not just to the experts, but to the people who will be directly affected by our decisions and the decisions of other levels of government. We will become a city with open doors and open ears. We will set up forums that encourage people to talk to us and with us, and we will listen before we act. Third, I understand an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I am a believer in the wisdom of investing in prevention rather than remediation, particularly as it affects our youth. To the extent that we can, we will focus our social planning and policy on creating the conditions and providing the resources that prevent problems from arising in the first place. Fourth, I believe that great policy results from great teamwork. I will be routinely seeking the advice and the input of my fellow city councillors in all major policy matters. They all have special areas of interest. They all have a contribution to make, and it will be sought out, and it will be welcomed. And fifth, I have made plain my desire to improve the quality of communications with service providers and customers. We will do our best to tear down the organizational silos that divide and build instead the community bridges that connect.
Very good.
We will be taking steps to ensure an improved level of public communications in all our social and other programs, including our community grants, and the standard of customer service of their delivery. And make no mistake, all of the taxpayers and all the residents of this city are our customers, and they will be treated like that. So how do these translate into an agenda for social and community services? I'm going to focus my remarks in 7 areas that seem to have immediacy to them. First, I will propose to Council that we establish 3 new permanent advisory committees. These will be focused on the needs of the elderly, youth, and labour. They will serve as permanent voice for their communities and a valued resource for council and staff in our understanding and response to needs. Their membership will be such that when we listen to the Elderly Advisory Committee, for example, we will be hearing directly from seniors themselves and not through somebody else. Second, we need to be more active and more successful in our management of homelessness and street transiency. There is perception that homelessness is growing in Peterborough along with an increase in panhandling. It pains me to see a person living rough on the streets or in the parks. For most of us, it appears to be a manner of living that is 1,000,000 miles removed from our own, but it is not. I would recommend to Council that would be more determined in ramping up the street team approach that has both medical and social service components, and whose purpose is to assist people in getting to the services they need. That will help put them on a path to improved care and permanent housing, something that is deficient in our community.